Hey, Steve Gurney here, Beginner's Guide to Adventure Sport. This is a video for the climbing chapter and more specifically how to belay. So we're here out on a real rock face, and this is the same whether it's a real rock face or in the climbing gym or on a climbing wall. So here we're going to be talking about top roping, which is what you'll be doing as a beginner. So in top roping, the rope is already attached to something up the top. So in this case it's a really strong anchor. The other version is lead climbing, which is an advanced technique where a climber has gone in and they've put in protection as they climb up and then create an anchor at the top. But as I say, that's for once you're a more advanced climber. So now we'll go through and explain how to belay. Okay, we're at a lovely rock face and Sarah's going to climb and I'm going to belay. So there's three stages we go through here. First is, there's three C's basically. First of all is connect. Second one is communicate, and the third one is climb. So first of all, we're going to connect. Sarah's going to tie into the end of the rope. So she's going to use a follow through figure eight, and so she ties figure eight in the rope, then feeds through both loops of her climbing harness. Then she feeds the rope back through the figure eight again. This is repeated in the other video, which is connecting into the climbing rope and connecting to your harness. So she's gone back through the figure eight and she's going to check by counting. She's got 5 sets of double ropes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there we are, she's tied in. Next, I'm going to tie in or connect in as the belayer. So check that my rope's not twisted, so I need to go under here. And then I'm going to connect into my belay device, so I make a bite. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to make sure that the belayer's end of the rope is in my right hand for locking off, and the climbing end of the rope is in my guide hand or the left hand. And so I've got my belay device and I've connected it into a carabiner on my belay loop on my harness. So I take this bite of rope and I'll feed it through my belay device and lock it into the carabiner. Then I'll screw the gate on my carabiner shut tight and then back a quarter of a turn so it's not jamming, and just check that it's all working. I've got my belayer's end of the rope and the climbing end of the rope and it's all set. And so now so that's the connecting stage. So stage 1, connect. Then we go stage 2, which is communicate. So we're going to communicate that what's going to happen at the top. Do you want me to lower you down?
Yeah, that would be great. Okay,
so we know what's going to happen. That's quite important, especially if the climber, when you get better as a climber, the climber's gone out of sight. We want to know what we're going to do once she reaches the top. Then the next thing about communication, which is the second step still, is I'm going to tell her that I'm ready to belay, and she's going to tell me when she's climbing so that we know to be ready and vigilant. And then the third C, of course, is to climb away and belay.
Checks.
So before that happens, we're going to do some checks. That I'm going to check that she's done the knot correctly and that her harness is all done nice and tight and that she can't come out of her harness, and she's going to do the same for me. Check all my buckles and check that my carabiner's done up properly and can't open. Okay, so we're ready to climb. But before we start, I just want to explain a bit what your role is as a belayer. So my role is to make sure Sarah, the climber, is safe. Her life is literally in my hands. So I need to be very careful about what I'm doing and know that, and she needs to know that I'm concentrating and paying full attention to what's going on and not being distracted by the beautiful scenery or some other people up here. So once she says that she's climbing and I tell her that she's on belay, then that's it. I've got to be totally committed to the job. So there's a few concepts we need to introduce here. First of all, as Sarah's climbing, the rope will become slack. So I need to take in the slack so that if she slips and falls, she doesn't fall a long way. I've immediately arrested her. So that's the first part of the plus technique we're using, the PLUS. So pull in the slack. And the second thing I need to introduce here, that this is the brake hand. So I'm right-handed and I'm going to lock the rope off through my belay device. So when it's in this position it's not locked, but when it's in this position it is locked. And this brake hand never leaves the rope. And we'll show you how you do that. So when you do the plus system, it's pulling in the slack And this has got to be in this up position or unlocked position for as short a duration as we possibly can. So let's do that again. So I pull in the slack and then lock off. So that's the L is the second part of the plus. And then I need to get this brake hand back up again. So I'll go under with this other hand, and I'll hold the lock there, and this brake hand slides back up the rope again. It never leaves it, it just slides up it, and then it's locked off again. And I go through that sequence again, pulling in the slack, locking off as quickly as I can, underneath, then slide back up. So the plus, P-L-U-S, pull, lock, under, slide. All right, so we're ready to climb?
Ready to climb.
So Sarah's going to do the communication thing here, so Sarah's going to tell me.
All right, Steve, climbing.
You're climbing, all right, you're on belay. So I'll do the plus, so I'll pull in the slack, lock off as quickly as I can, underneath, slide up. Pull in the slack, lock off as quickly as I can, underneath, slide up. Pull, lock, under, slide. Pull, lock, under, slide. She's climbing very quickly. Pull, lock, under, slide. With a lot of slack to take in. Pull, lock, under, slide. Pull, lock, under, slide. Pull, lock, under, slide. So I'm going to be watching Sarah all the time. Good communication, just checking where she's at. And if she looks like she's getting a bit wobbly or scared, then I'll make sure I pull in the slack so she's nice and firmly held, and she can trust me, the belayer. Pull, lock, under, slide. Pull, lock, under, slide. So I'm concentrating the whole time, watching what Sarah's doing. And I can also tell if she's getting to a tricky piece and she's looking a bit nervous. I can let her know that I've got you. Yeah, I've got you, it's okay. And I might even pull in a wee bit more of slack in the rope just to make sure she knows she's firmly held there in case she slips. Pull, lock, under, slide. Pull, lock, under, slide. Okay, you're at the top. Yep. Okay, I'll just pull in all the slack I can. Right, I've got you. And then I'll lock off both hands underneath on the brake side of the rope. Okay, I've got you, ready to lower you down. And then once we're away, I'll just slowly and controlledly lower her down at a speed that she's happy with until she gets back down to the bottom. So I've got the rope locked off. And the advantage of this is I can hold one hand while I untangle. If there's a twist in the rope, I can just check it with the other hand, but I never let it go. Welcome to the bottom. Excellent. Righto, do you want to do some more climbing? Where else would you like to climb? No. All right.